Keir Starmer's government resembles a man trying to conduct an orchestra while being mugged in the pit. And we're told repeatedly that he's strong, strategic, and serious, but increasingly, the Prime Minister appears to be led not by vision but by ventriloquists. Is he dancing to the tune of Lord Glassman, the gravel-throated prophet of Blue Labour, to Morgan McSweeney, his campaign brain turned ideological architect to both of them? Or is it, as some fear, a political improvisation so chaotic that even Baldrick could claim authorship? In his address on immigration, which continues oddly in Albania, why he would talk in Albania about immigration, in the knowledge that Albanians were severely upset by Suella Braverman shrieking at the dispatch box, "Invader!" And they then went on strike through London. Huge crowds of people rightly striking about the shame of the language used in the House of Commons. And then Starmer has declared that Britain risks becoming an island of strangers. The phrase landed with a thud, likened to Enoch Powell's Rivers of Blood by critics such as Lord Dobbs and John MacDonnell. It was simultaneously too harsh for the left and too hollow for the right. The hardliners were not mollified, liberals were mortified. This isn't policy, it's political cosplay. And the white paper it accompanied was conspicuously timid, banning care home recruitment from overseas but offering no visible solution to chronic staffing crises. It had the whiff of desperation, a hasty imitation of Rishi Sunak's failed attempts to placate Farage, with all the conviction of a hostage reading a ransom note. The internal drama is restoration comedy. Lord Hermer, the Attorney General, is a human rights barrister with a record that reads like a Telegraph editorial's fever dream. Shamina Begum, Liberty, the Chagos Islands, and he represents the Starmer of 2015, a principled institutionalist. Then enters Lord Glassman, the founder of Blue Labour and now the voice of Red Toryism with a philosophical licence. Glassman loathes Hermer. He recently called him an arrogant progressive fool who substitutes jurisprudence for political judgment. It's a damning indictment, and an accurate one, at least from Glassman's perspective, and caught between them is Starmer, poor man, the man who used to admire Hermer and now increasingly channels Glassman. This isn't ideological evolution, it's a government with two steering wheels and no map. If Glassman is the conscience and Hermer the tether, and McSweeney then is the engine. This is a revelation to me. I had a talk with somebody last night, and I've been submerged in the Glassman world, and it makes sense. Starmer's chief of staff believes Labour lost the working class by listening too much to lawyers, NGOs, and columnists. That may well be true. His solution is populist triangulation. Talk tough, act symbolic, and always stay one step ahead, one headline ahead of Farage. The result, policy schizophrenia. Starmer speaks of rules, duties, British values, and then hires a progressive KC to stall growth schemes on legal grounds. He decries abuse of the asylum system but offers no credible plan to process or remove claimants. He bans foreign care workers while NHS trusts quietly cry into their spreadsheets. McSweeney's real achievement is strategic. He's turned Starmer from Mr. Rules to Mr. Reaction. But politics without principle is not strategy, that's desperation, it's cowardice disguised as cunning. The central contradiction is this: Starmer cannot both defend the rule of law and assault it with populist sound bites. He cannot signal to Farage's base while retaining the trust of the Liberal centre. He cannot declare migration unsustainable while failing to invest in skills, social care or integration, and the public knows it. They sense the contradiction, they smell the fear. Voters may not always reward ideological purity, but they despise transparent insincerity. And that, sadly, is precisely what Labour is offering. The rational path remains the centre, Polling shows the public want immigration managed, not vilified. They want services funded, not fantasies sold. They want homes, jobs and dignity, not culture war and sound bites. And here the Lib Dems, bless them, have quietly been right. They have avoided the moral panic. If only they could avoid their leader. They've stuck to liberalism. They've focused on local delivery, not national drama. They've stuck to what they know they can do. It may not be fashionable, but it may prove formidable. So what of the Prime Minister? He's torn between the rule of law and the lure of headlines, between his former self and his newly cast shadow, between a barrister's restraint and a brawler's instincts. At times, he resembles a man who believes power is real only if you are seen breaking things. That's something that goes back to Brexit, isn't it? Power is only real if you're seen to be breaking things. In short, Starmer needs a plan, and he needs to be told that Brexit was a mistake. Either it was a mistake in itself, in and of itself, I think it was, or it was a mistake in the way it was enacted. I think it was. And not one thing is right about the present situation. The present situation drafted by Glassman or Hermer or even McSweeney, and perhaps what Starmer needs is a Baldrick to turn around and tell him some simple home truths. Baldrick, in his own way, understood that sometimes the cunningest plan is simply to tell the truth, stand your ground, and govern, even if you look ridiculous. And that, not triangulation, not technocracy, not theatre, is how real trust is built. Not with nonsense, but with trying to stick to some sort of truth, with trying to have a cunning plan anyway, rather than a reaction, rather than an attempt to outfox Farage. You can't outfox Farage. You can't out-reform. You can't outright the right, because there's an entire plane of platitudinous nastiness. There's a plane of pernicious posturing that Farage can plough. It's there for the taking. And the further you push Farage into what you think is a corner, the more you open the door to that plane. And Starmer's first duty is not to get re-elected. Starmer's first duty is to protect this country. And he's not doing that at the moment. He's trying to protect his own future. That is not the job of a Prime Minister.